Okay, welcome back to the stream. Today will probably be a pretty quick stream. Starting to get into the habit of streaming like almost at midnight before I go to bed. So last stream, we implemented like a transactional approach to transferring money through the game. So money is always transferred between two parties and it doesn't come out of thin air or disappear. And we have this basic UI that just like prints information to like the window, and we have different stats about different districts. What I want to do is move away from this like console logging UI and start creating like some actual game objects that are interactable and that can display this information, because I think this is not too good to look at, and it's pretty like this was good just to get started, but I want to be able to create larger districts, arrange them in a nice like layout, and display and visualize the information in like an easier to view form, and something that's closer to what the actual game will use. So yeah, I'm gonna try to move this information to like be on top of like an actual game object. So my current idea is we have this mono behavior, which is like how we start this whole simulation program. And this object, this component exists in the game. Like there's a game object for it. So this will run. And this constructs like a regular C# class where we set up all the different districts, and then we create an economy class which the simulation calls methods on. So what I think I want to do is, rather than creating this stuff in code, I want to have an option to like initialize this stuff using game objects in the scene. So to do that, I want to keep it flexible so I can still potentially like I don't want to change any of the code. I just want to extend it and make it support both like code-based initialization as well as like initialization from the Unity scene. So to do that, I think we're going to create just like some prefabs with special components on them. So I'm thinking this cylinder could represent what a district looks like for now. So we need to create a new mono behavior for this. I personally haven't come up with like a good naming convention for things that are mono behaviors. I guess maybe this is a controller. I honestly have no idea what this class is going to look like at this point. So, but I know like one piece of data that I want from the Unity editor is the district type. So and this serialized field annotation just means Unity will like display this in the editor, but I can still keep the variable private, which I may want to do. So we have district type. I think that's it. I think that's all I actually want at this time. And I'm just going to create a directory in the resources folder, and I'll call it economy simulation. I don't really know if Unity likes people using the resource folder anymore, or if that's like, if there's like a better asset driven way of instantiating objects at runtime, but this is what I've always used. And this actually might be more of a prefab because I don't think I'll be instantiating districts at runtime. So I'll also create a folder here to store regular prefabs. And this object, this prefab for district, we can set what type of district it should be. So there's 3 options: upper, middle, and lower. So I think I'll create like an upper district here, a middle district, and a lower district. So now we have 1 upper district, 4 middle districts, and 4 lower districts. And now we need to tell Unity to look at this, to parse this scene basically. Parse the scene for this information, and then build up the code, like build up the objects we need at runtime. So we can do that here. So before we create this economy simulation, we need to parse the scene. So and we can just use Unity's handy find objects of type. And what this should do is, like, behind the scenes, Unity is basically indexing and building data structures for physics and all your game objects and grouping them by things like components attached to them, so they can easily they're doing a lot of like management of objects for us. So this is like a super cheap way for like doing dependency injection from the editor, from the game, the game, the scene. I mean, the Unity scene. And this will work for now. So thinking this will return an economy simulation, and we need to have a new constructor for economy simulation. And this will take in a list of district controllers, and just go through all of them. And just do an if else statement, but I do need this to be accessible here. All this function's going to do is convert these district controllers to basically do this logic. So if it's a lower district, we'll do this. All right, so these can be reusable. And here we can also do that. So just do this. And now we can add another constructor here that takes in this. And here we'll just make a default population. So and I can also see eventually making it configurable what type of like job types and like there's no need to have 3 different methods here. We can just have one that takes in like job type as well, like a list of different jobs to add to the district. But for now, I'm fine with this like duplicate code, because I know it's gonna get better. So now in this mono behavior, we can change this And now we're parsing it from the scene, and we should have a lot more districts, I guess. Just gonna put the main camera slightly above everything. They're all upper districts for some reason. Why? I broke this. I guess this is still necessary with a private setter. Let's see. Ah, that's annoying. You can't make this private. Okay. So upper, these should be middle. And these should be lower. So again, this UI is super hard to see here. So what I'm thinking of doing is moving this UI to be on top of these objects. So how should we do that? So I think for now we'll just use the Unity update function. But I'm trying to figure out how to link these objects to their actual like district economy class. So I think we could do it here, to be honest. I think this is okay. We have a reference to the district controller, so what we can do sorry. this like initialization thing I'm doing is completely unnecessary, but I'm just doing it so I remember that this object is supposed to be initialized with the district economy, like before any of this like update Unity stuff is supposed to be run. So here, let me just set initialize to be true, and basically because we don't have a constructor for this mono behavior, it already exists in the scene, and we're using it to figure out how to create this thing, and then we're coming back and we're initializing this. All this needs to happen before the update lifecycle kicks in. So not saying this is a good approach, but this certainly works and isn't too confusing, and it's so, you can standardize this. It's not that bad. So coming back here, we can do this. And so now we are making a call back to the controller and initializing it with the district economy we just created. So we can finally do our update function because now we have this data. And what's a district economy have again? It has a describe method, which is this. So we can make a call to that, and we can just do we can just draw some like text to the screen. So I think this should work. Let me just space these out a bit. hide the canvas now. There is a syntax error though. Distro controller was not initialized. Oh, I see, I see. This won't work. Because this is also the start function. So if I change this to awake, everything should be good now. This is not a good sign. Unity's freezing. I think that was just a Unity editor issue and nothing to do with my code. I notice in this version of Unity 2021.0f1, I'm getting some crashes like every so often, whereas other versions have been really stable. But I'm glad I didn't lose this layout here. So let's see if this still works. I noticed, okay, the one thing I noticed that's really weird is the text disappears from these objects after I press the like next day, or I press the arrow key to move the simulation forward one day. So I'm wondering why that's happening. Yeah, I just pressed it and it disappears. So, not sure why. Let me just hide this again. So it's almost like this is returning an empty string, which doesn't make sense. Just want to make sure the box renders each, or the sphere renders each frame, so I know it's. It doesn't. It disappears as well. What the heck? Am I not using this correctly? Duh. Maybe I don't understand A-line API as well as I thought I did. That's fine though. I have a better idea. We're just gonna modify these to have like a Text Mesh Pro actual UI. This way I can get better color anyway, like rich text support. So let's see where overflow. Okay, so now rather than using like the drawing library to just draw to the screen, I actually have like a real UI thing here that might be easier to use for me. Let's see. Move it down. World space UI always confuses me. And I'm just going to update this controller to have a reference to the UI as well. It's the wrong type, I think. Text Mesh Pro Text is what it actually is. So wire up that reference and update all the prefabs. Should be good. Cool. So now we can see like the lower district. We can see all the variables associated with this, and we can see them changing here. And now everyone's dead. So the next like logical thing to do would be actually like render people and stuff in this district based on these variables and change how they look based on like if they're alive or dead, if they're hungry, if they're sick, what job they're working, animate them, all that stuff. So I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. But I think the foundation is here. Like I can add more districts easily. Because this will kind of match the real game. And hit save. It's all working. So. All right, thanks for watching. Probably next video keep working on this and make it look better. I want to start working on trading between the districts. So like I want to have this district maybe produce food, and this district produce like iron and metal for like manufacturing, and then I want the resources to flow between the districts based on supply and demand. So if this district doesn't produce food, merchants are going to want to bring food from this district over to this district so people here can buy it. And I'm hoping we see like a nice balanced equilibrium sustainable simulation, and then you as the player will start like messing things up, and the simulation will fight back and try to balance everything out.